Hey loves, I can absolutely guarantee that you are on the perfect path to your specific person manifestation, and I can guarantee you this. But if you were worried or kind of felt like, but am I actually? Today we're going to discuss and go over how to know you are on the perfect path, taking you to exactly what you want. Throughout most of my coaching sessions, I would say actually, at some point or another, someone asks or worries, am I on the right path? Am I actually doing everything right? Is everything working out? Can I do more? Can I do less? All those questions always come up, and you may even be thinking about it or worrying about it at this current moment. You might be thinking, well, I feel like I'm getting into this. Say, I feel like I'm in that wish fulfilled, but how do I know if I truly am? So the first thing I would say, if you have the desire, like I've said in 100 of my different videos, if you have the desire, it means that you are meant for that thing. But the goal with manifestation and the law of assumption is to take that feeling of desire and move it to a place of satisfaction. So if you are going into all of your techniques for the sole purpose of having that calm, peace, abundance, and love internally rather than anything outside of you, then you are doing perfectly fine. And if you're not, I guarantee you're still on the perfect path. Because again, having that desire is that promise from your reality that you're meant to have that thing. But remember that your subconscious mind is always going to take you down the perfect bridge of events. And I would say most of us all the time during the manifestation know and feel like we are doing fantastic. But then it is something outside of us in our external reality that kind of has us double guessing ourselves. Am I right? Like maybe you were doing all your affirmations, really getting into that perfect end scene visualization and really feeling positive and abundant. And then you see your specific person unfollowed you on Instagram or didn't text you back, or there's a third party. And then that begins to have us questioning and worrying, am I actually doing this right? I thought I was doing well, but why am I seeing these things happening around me? But the main thing to remember is you don't have to worry about all that. Remember, go back to the idea. The bridge of events is always leading you exactly where you need to go. And I was actually on a coaching call with someone the other day, kind of talking about this same idea. When you see, just because something looks very not so positive in your external reality doesn't mean you're doing bad at all. Remember, we are always on the bridge of events, always everything, your subconscious mind is always trying to give you exactly what you feel and desire and what you assume internally. So if you're assuming the correct state, then you're going to be on that perfect path. And again, even if you don't feel like you're assuming the correct state, I guarantee that you're on the perfect path. But as you can see, the worry and the fear begin to arise when we're looking on our external reality. But the main thing I want you to keep and take away from this entire video, one is that you're doing it perfectly fine. And then two is going to be, you never, ever, ever, ever have to worry about how or when your manifestation is going to show up in your reality. Now take a look at everything that has happened. Every time you've had anxiety, every time you've worried, every time you had fear. Is it connected to one of those two things? To the fear, the how your manifestation is going to show up, or when is it going to show up? And I guarantee you, and again, I've tried so hard throughout my entire process when I first kind of discovered this idea that that's all of our anxiety and all of our worry. I tried so hard to debunk it, to make it even easier for people to manifest, and I have not found a way to debunk that. Literally, all of the worry you'll ever experience in a manifestation is how or when. So if we can take our mind off of that, we are going to understand that we are on the perfect path currently and nothing can go wrong. And when you do think from that positive and abundant state, you're going to be perfectly given or taken down the path that leads you the quickest to your manifestation. Because there's a story that Joseph Murphy talks about that I absolutely love. And it is the person who is in the shop window, right? And they're just looking at things that are awesome. Maybe they want to purchase, and someone comes up and they feel a piece of paper get shoved in their hand, right? And they just look down, they're like, someone's shoving an ad in my hand, and they throw it away. But in reality, someone came up and shoved $100 bill in their hand. But that's how we can basically react in our 3D reality if we're not thinking from an abundant or loving state. You're going to see that your mind and your subconscious are trying to take you and bring your specific person to you in the absolute best way possible. And we're completely missing it because we're worrying about it. Because again, think about anything that's happening in your external reality right now that you feel worried about. How do you know that this isn't leading you down the perfect event or the perfect path, the bridge of events to exactly what you need to do or your manifestation in the quickest and easiest way possible? You'd have to say, well, you don't technically know. Because again, you could write down and think of an infinite actually, amount of possibilities in which your current situation is the perfect outcome for your manifestation of your specific person. And I would even say take a moment and go through that right now. Whatever the situation is that is bothering you in your reality currently, I want you to take out a piece of paper right now. Think about that thing that's bothering you. And then at the top of the page of this sheet of paper that you have out, make sure you have a pencil or a pen as well, or a highlighter or whatever it is, something to write with. And at the top, I want you to write what's great about this. And then underneath that, I want you to write at least 10 different ways in which what's happening currently in your reality is the perfect outcome and is going to lead you exactly to your specific person. Now, at first, you're probably looking at me on this video going, Kyle, I can't do that. There's no way that this could actually be something positive. And I guarantee you, do this, just sit there for a moment, ask yourself, what's great about this? You're going to prime your subconscious mind, and you're going to find that you actually begin to realize or see how what's happening is the perfect path leading you exactly to where you want to be. Because I will say one of the most recent coaching sessions that I introduced this idea and they had great results with, they currently had a third party in their reality, right? So let's say you're dealing with a third party and you're thinking, what could possibly be great about this? Well, think about this. What if this third party is kind of being introduced to show them or show your specific person just how great and fantastic you are? That makes a lot of sense to our logical mind. And I know you might be like, well, that's not the absolute greatest outcome, or maybe like, I don't want to kind of endorse or bring a third party in. But when you have no fear or worry or anxiety towards an outcome, it basically eliminates it from existence. So you'll see that the third party is going to cease to exist much quicker if you begin to realize that everyone in your reality is you pushed out and they're only there to reiterate and fulfill your assumptions. So again, you can imagine yourself as the director of a play. The third party is only acting out the mental script that you are handing them. So if you hand them a mental script that they're actually there just to support your specific person being with you, then that's how you're going to see them react. But most of the time, we act as if they're competition, right? We act as if things in our external reality are actually out to get us. But in truth, they're not. Everyone and everything around you is trying to help you get to your manifestation, to get everything you could ever desire in the quickest way possible. So allow it to work for you and not against you. Because imagine if you went into your higher self state right now and you were looking at yourself and you're like, okay, how can I actually help myself get to what I want? And then you begin to introduce all of these things that, again, on the surface didn't really seem like they were helping, but you knew as the higher self in your higher state, in your subconscious, ultimate higher being, your all-knowingness, you were putting these things in your physical body's life to reach your goal. And then imagine you and your physical body were like, all this is just working against me, right? That's an assumption that we're making. And remember, our assumptions, if persisted in, are going to harden into fact in our reality. So when we begin to assume everything's working against us, what do we see? We see that everything is working against us. And if we begin to assume that everything is working out in our favor, what are we going to see? We're going to see that everything begins to work out in our favor in the absolute best possible way. And this is what this exercise, writing down those 10 things of what's great about your current situation, is going to do for your subconscious mind and for your assumptions. You begin again to, I guarantee you, if you do this, you are going to see in your current reality and in your current circumstance that things are so much better than you could ever imagine, but we're just not looking at the correct stuff or looking at it in the way that our subconscious mind is attempting to utilize these things around us that we feel are working against us, but are actually working out in our favor in the best possible way. So absolutely try out this technique, and I can't wait to hear the amazing results you're gonna get with this and your specific person. Let me know if you did have any questions on it. You can always leave it down below in the comment section, or if you wanted to sign up for one-on-one coaching or had a personal question that you wanted to send to me, head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. But thanks again so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. Sorry that today's video was a little later in the day, but I absolutely cannot wait to see you in the next one.